Welcome to CastorsCorner.com. I'm your host, Khalil, here for another toy of the day. We have a lot going on from Hasbro PulseCon, right? There's so much going on. And just to be clear, this review is also brought to you by Hasbro. They sent along this figure for a sample, so we're going to take a look at it. You can check out a full gallery of this guy up on CastorsCorner.com. You can follow us. We are at Kastor's Corner. All our coverage of the weekend's activities with Hasbro PulseCon are up, as well as all of our reviews. So go check those out. And new podcasts coming very, very soon. You can check those out on Apple Podcasts. So what do we have for you today? Well, we're wrapping up our box because we did reviews of all the exclusives as well as the Marvel Legends stuff previously, because we got those earlier. We're going to take a look at this guy right here. Finster, right? Finster, yeah. Finster from the Power Rangers Lightning Collection. And honestly, this is my first Power Rangers Lightning Collection review on the channel. We did some unboxings. We did some reviews a year ago, on one of the boxes they sent over. But this is really our first from the Lightning Collection, so I'm kind of excited to take a look at it. And it definitely is one of the cooler characters in the line. I mean, it's not just like a spandex costume, right? There's a lot of detail and sculpting to it. So I packed away Jesse. I packed away my handy dandy. So I gotta just pull out scissors to get him out of the box. So Finster should be hitting shelves in the next few months. He is in kind of an early preview release for us to be able to take a look at. I know a lot of you that collect Power Rangers are excited to get him in your hands. One of the monster makers for Rita Repulsa. Right, Rita? Yeah. And he is definitely, I mean, you can see the artwork on there. Really depicting a nice drawing of him. I really think the Lightning Collection, even though I think the only reason I'm not doing the Lightning Collection is the fact that I never watched Power Rangers. And I know that sounds like, oh my God, you're reviewing a Power Rangers story. You got something early and you don't appreciate it. No, I 100% appreciate it. I really understand like how cool this is and how like these kind of characters, when you get people like this, creatures like this in the line, it is not your general spandex-y kind of character. There's a lot of sculpting, a lot of work that goes into it. So getting characters outside the Power Ranger worlds, I think, kind of just ups the value of the line as a whole. So I completely am aware of the excitement for it. And regardless of whether or not it is one of those figures that kind of go on my one-off shelves where he's too cool not to keep. And I can appreciate it for a piece of art. I think that's the other piece of it. Sometimes it's not about really getting into the properties of it all, but also appreciating these things as works of art. So we've got so he sculpted and designed the monsters that the Power Rangers usually have to take on. And so he comes with it reminds me very much of the Puppet Master from the Fantastic Four, with the little skull clay designs and the look of him overall and his accessories as well. And so I'm sorry, we got one more plastic break to get him out of the packaging. And so he is loose here. Let's get a nice close-up shot of him. I'll have close-up pictures of him on the website, so don't worry about that. You can go to CastorsCorner.com to check it out. So overall, definite winner here. You can see the detail and the sculpting probably would have a little more painted detail if it was a higher value, a higher priced item. So there was a lot of talk during Hasbro PulseCon this weekend about paint apps. How many paint apps? 200 paint apps for this and 900 paint apps for this, individual ones. And so if you look at a character like this, and see that like his apron here has like these different colors on all these different parts. So each one of those is a paint app, is a paint strike. And so somebody has to go in and hit all those paint strikes on it to make it look as good as it does. And so a character, you know, at a $20, $19.99, $22.99 price range is not going to get the same amount of paint strikes as, say, something from a Hasbro HasLab project. So you can see that his apron does allow you to put his tools on his on his apron, which I think is a really nice little touch here. So he can carry them. Just like the Joe line, I'm telling you right now, whenever a character can carry, head pops off pretty easily. So you can put his little jeweler's loop, inspection loop around his neck. Pops right back on. So he can hold up his little loop here and kind of really, let's see if we can get a good shot of that. So he can kind of pick up his loop and look through at things for sure, which is a nice little touch for it, definitely. What else do we have? So we have a nice little case here. So the case has space for 3. One of them is permanently molded in. So this one at the top is permanently molded in. You have the alternative ones that go in certain spots. So one has a ball, one has a sword. I apologize. I probably should know, or you might know which ones these are. And the case, because it has like the form fit there, it does close and holds your guys. So what's missing on this, you can see, well, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but there's like that wood grain detailing on here, and little brass pieces that this is where you look at it and go, well, this is where they sacrifice maybe some of the paint strikes. And it might be my knowledge of the piece, but gray wood, gray hinges and all that, I don't think that's 100% accurate, but, you know, please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. This is where some of the paint apps might have got let go. And again, I'm okay with it based on how well this guy is articulated and looks. So he comes with his aprons attached. It does not come off. It is kind of molded into the upper part of him. I'm sure those of you that customize could probably cut this off because it is an overlay on top of his torso. So there's the option for that. His glasses also are kind of molded in, and this headband here kind of keeps you from being able to just pop them right out. But this is like a crazy customizer's dream here, looking at all the options to be able to kind of pull off if you need to or want to add to different characters. And this is one of those cases where the fact that like tooling doesn't go across lines, so his height, his design, like, would be a great way to just take this and give it to a puppet master and get a Fantastic Four character out of it. But tooling doesn't go across lines like that. So the license for Power Rangers pays for the tooling for that. So they don't usually share tools. They don't usually share parts across lines generally. You might see that in maybe like a Hasbro baseline. So something that was made for G.I. Joe maybe could be used in other things because Hasbro proper made it. Mattel used to do that. If it was He-Man Masters of the Universe based, it can then be used for other lines because it was an internal Mattel line. But they can't go across other lines like that. Now, he does come with alternate hands, and I think that they're quite important because they allow you to do an extra pose with him. So this hand does come off. Looks like he's got little trees coming out of his hand. And you can see he's got his little sculpting tool that fits perfectly into that alternate hand. So he's got the sculpting tool, he's got the rolling pin, he's got the trowel-like accessory, he's got his briefcase, he's got 2 alternate hands. He is not the prettiest of characters. But he is just, as far as sculpt goes, as far as sculpt and design, he definitely is one of those really standout characters in a line. So I'm thrilled to have him. I'm going to do close-ups of him, so you'll get to see all the little tree-like, leaf-like details on him. And let's see. Oh, well, there is one more thing I did not notice on him, and I just want to check something. Yeah, I was right. So he does have one more articulation point, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else out there. He can't have a surprise look and open his mouth. You don't genuinely see that on something with so much detail, so many accessories, and then added articulation points in there. I'm floored by this as a $22 figure. I mean, when you look at other figures that are in the same vein, different lines and things like that, you don't get this level of sculpt work and you don't get that level of detail. So really good job by the team. Thank you again to Hasbro for sending this along for a review. You can check out a full gallery and close-ups of all the details here on Finster on castorscorner.com. You can follow us. We are at Kastor's Corner. Check out the Cornercast podcast. New episodes coming soon. Catch up on old ones. And as we say every night before we leave, Jaxie, we miss you and we love you and we wish you were here. But for those of you out there that are coming back, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you know when new episodes are going to show up every night, sometime between 7 and 11:30, depending on what's going on during the day. We've got a ton of new stuff coming for you, from the Fantastic Four wave to the new reissue of Vulture, to everything else in this room that kind of got pushed aside because we got Hasbro PulseCon this week. But we got a ton, and we've got like 50 some odd days left. And I think I have 50 or so toys in this room that I think I can pull off our full year. So we're excited about that. So we will see you tomorrow for another Toy of the Day here on castorscorner.com. Have a good night, everybody.